There you go.
Let me feel, let me see the world from where you are. Someday soon, Mr. Moon, I will touch your face.
Okay, that's one wish granted. Now for yours. As I stated in the bonus objective poll, one of the movies listed was Annabelle's Wish, which managed to get the most votes. And since that's what you wanted, that's what we're doing. But what is Annabelle's Wish? The film was a made-for-TV movie by Ralph Edwards Films, which, according to their own website, it's apparently the only animated film they've ever done. That's of course in part with The Bar Animation Company and Wang Film Productions Company, who are known for producing or co-producing other animated works. It's kinda weird that a company that's been around since the 1950s would only ever experiment with animation just once before dropping out. Kind of a shame given this movie's credentials. Plus it has Roy Wilson as the director, and he's been in about everything animated from the 70s to early 2000s. Although, it may be a little concerning that this movie has 15 writers, but you'd be surprised as to what can happen. So let's give it a chance and see what comes of it. Okay, as we get a look at this universe's Santa, as he prepares to set out for that one fateful night, I'll just say now, the animation is okay for the time, though some designs seem iffy. But this was the late 90s, and for made-for-TV movie standards, it's at least very presentable.
You know, Christmas Eve is a night tailor-made for wishes. And this Christmas Eve would be no exception. It was special even for Santa.
Santa got himself a very special date with a certain Mrs. at home. And yes, that's Randy Travis playing the narrator. He was in Hey Arnold!
You can offer me a diamond-plated pearl. You can send me all the riches in the world.
And that's the only thing I recognize him from. There's a lot of other stars that you may recognize, like Jerry Van Dyke, Cloris Leachman, Jim Varney, K.E. Cooter.
My God, it's full of stars.
But more importantly, Kath Soucie voices our title character, Annabelle, who just so happens to be born on that very Christmas Eve.
And trust me, it was no accident. This little bundle of joy with wishes all her own was born on Christmas Eve.
That's basically everyone's reaction to pretty much everything about her, because yeah, Annabelle is that adorable. She's one of the purest characters I've ever seen. And she's a cow, which is different from the norm. I mean, as far as films with regular animals go, and not the funny variety, you know? So what's her purpose in the story? Well, she happens to be involved with this one kid named Billy, who happens to be mute, due to an incident years ago involving his parents who died in a barn fire. And if anything, as he'll believe Santa gave him Annabelle as a Christmas gift later, this is like a boy and his pet story with emphasis on the emotional friendship they share, but if the pet was also a cow. Naturally, being mute means getting pestered by the neighborhood bullies.
What's the matter, Billy? Ain't you gonna sing? Yeah, he was singing. Silent Night.
Well, somebody's getting coal this Christmas, and is also the target of our main antagonist? Aunt Agnes.
Candles? Candy? Tinsel? Something's missing. And you know what that is? A child. That's what. And we know just where to get one, don't we?
Agnes confuses me. She certainly seems like she loves getting into the festive spirit of things, at least in decorating anyway, but I find her desire for Billy to be rather odd since she doesn't really like him all that much, but is trying so much to get him anyway. He isn't even like with Robin in the Tom and Jerry movie, where she could get money off a potentially wealthy family member. He seems more like a country kid whose parents somehow died in a fire that we'll probably not get a real explanation for. Seriously, who caused the fire and why was everybody in the barn when it happened? But if anything, while the story can be a little odd, it mostly tries going for being inspirational. For Christmas is a time for miracles, and even in this case where magic exists, there's something to be had about giving to others over yourself. Speaking of magic though, until now the animals have not shown to be talking at all outside of just their normal sounds. That's because on Christmas, Santa blesses the animals with the ability to speak.
Let the talking begin. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Santa!
Hey, at least it's better than having a Santa dog who only gives presents to dogs and not all house pets. While all the named animals get stars to voice them, they don't really get as much attention as Annabelle, so it makes me believe they're just here for the occasion of this being a Christmas movie. In any case, Annabelle learns what reindeer are.
How come these cows have these things on their heads?
But those aren't cows, Annabelle. They're my magic reindeer. They help me fly.
Fly?
Flying is like taking a walk in the sky. It's how I get around the world so fast. Now, hold still now. There. You're as pretty as a present.
I'm sorry, but I can't get over how adorable she is. We're only 13 minutes into this 50-ish minute film, but I really like this character. It's the childlike innocence of someone, while only born a few hours ago, being fascinated by the world around her, and when someone like Santa, whose powers include dust teleportation and flight, tells you you can do whatever as long as you believe in yourself, who wouldn't want to go and be with him?
To be completely free if you believe in yourself. It's easy to believe in me.
Still better sounding than the last movie's songs. So of course, Agnes shows up uninvited with presents to hopefully entice Billy with.
Open your presents, sweetie. Oh, and this is for you, Charles. Merry Christmas. They're imported bonbons from Paris. You know, France.
Truth be told, Aunt Agnes was about as interested in Billy as he was in that silly bunch of presents she brought.
How could that be? She got him a frickin' robot. But we know what he really wants. A heartwarming gift from someone like Santa. And since he didn't go see Annabelle yet, he goes out and sure enough, his reaction is as joyous as any kid getting an animal friend for Christmas.
See here. Her name is Annabelle. Take good care of her. Love, Santa Claus.
You gave him a cow for Christmas?
Nope, it was Santa Claus.
You're teaching the boy to believe in that fantasy?
Ain't nothing wrong with a little believing after what he's been through.
Exactly. This dreadful farm is a constant reminder of that horrible fire. This farm just isn't safe, let alone for a boy who can't talk.
Well, screw you, lady. There are other ways to communicate outside of talking, and even then he just needs love and companionship. Of course, he gets spooked into going into the barn, only to realize he's in the barn. So some drama returns. But then...
Bless you. Well, all I said was bless you.
Oh, the cat's out of the bag.
Oh man, the calf blew it. Oh boy, Santa's gonna be mad.
Okay, ignoring the fact he can't talk anyway, who is he gonna tell and who's gonna believe him? Just a matter of keeping your mouth shut, and it makes the humans think they're crazy. Fortunately, the adults leave the barn, surprised Grandpa didn't take Billy out in case of more trauma. Annabelle learns that Billy can't talk, which will affect her personal decisions later. Otherwise, Agnes tries to convince Grandpa Baker to let her take Billy, even though, again, she doesn't seem to really care for him anyway.
Well, ever since my dear brother, rest his soul, and that daughter of yours were lost, I worried myself sick over little William. What's to become of that poor, pathetic little child?
Pathetic? Didn't you see how happy he was? And he's not afraid of the barn anymore, thanks to Annabelle. Why now, Agnes? You had your chance and you didn't want him.
I changed my mind. I'll make the perfect mother.
That's her only motivation. She wants to be a perfect mother. There's a saying from a famous mad scientist regarding perfection.
In this world, nothing perfect exists. It may be a cliché after all, but it's the way things are.
Honestly, I think the story might have been improved if they cut Agnes out of the movie and focused on the relationship between Billy and Annabelle, since otherwise it just makes her more of a stock antagonist with nothing original, just to exist to fill some quota.
That. You've not heard the last from me? I have lawyers, you know.
I don't want to hear from her the first time. Wouldn't hear the last from me.
Also, wait until people are out of the room before you start talking. To think you chastised Annabelle earlier, and then...
He gave it to me. Santa's got these cows with those things on their heads. I think that he called them... reindeers? You know they can fly? I'm gonna learn to fly too. I'm gonna ask Santa next time I see him. That's gonna be my wish.
These children must be protected. No one touch them ever, or else you die. All is happy in the country until a mishap occurs and they break down the ugliest wooden fence in the world.
Hey, what's going on out here?
Pa, we caught him on our property.
You did you?
Yeah, and they busted our fence. Thought maybe we should learn him a lesson.
You did you? Nice looking calf.
I said, don't touch them or else you will die. I seriously have to wonder why this guy is such an asshole, though it sounds like we may learn in time. But for now, since the day is almost over, that means everyone will lose their ability to talk soon. Annabelle still desires to fly, despite being told that some things just aren't meant to happen, though it's okay to dream. Now let's enjoy a lovely song about Annabelle wishing to fly.
Wish I may, wish I might, on my favorite star. Let me feel, let me see the world from where you are. Someday soon, Mr. Moon, I will touch your face.
That's no good.
Okay, but seriously, the songs in this really are that enjoyable. And this one might be my favorite because of how relaxing it sounds. There's definite heart in this, unlike...
Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. That's what Grandpa's gonna do.
that. Anyway, time to ruin a small child's life by having the sheriff come on Gus's behalf, wanting compensation for the broken fence that could easily be repaired by hand, but no! It's either money or the calf. I don't even know what worth she would be to him anyway, but it's not like Grandpa will let this go. He decides to give up his daughter's music box.
You know, old buddy, if I had the money, I'd give it to you.
I know you would. I know you would, but I think I've solved the problem.
What are you gonna do?
Well, I've decided you can't hang on to some things forever, and Billy really needs Annabelle. Listen, when I get the money, will you arrange to get her back for me?
Oh, you betcha, Charlie. Be my pleasure.
Essentially, he's giving up something precious and dear to him in exchange for someone's happiness in the most earnest way possible. It's hard to let things go, but sometimes you have to let go and move on, especially as a means of helping someone in that need of it. Because it's around Christmas time, or even after that people show kindness to others and not expect anything in return. Gramps really cares for Billy enough that he would do anything to see him happy. And that's a genuine thing to see in a movie like this. Now sure, this song is another rare case of me liking a country song.
Perfect time for all those things that we both love to do.
Like taking walks and having talks or staring at the stars, while slowly we discover what we want and who we are.
Seasons come and seasons go, and the world keeps rolling round.
But it actually fits in showing how well Billy's friendship with Annabelle is. And Emily, who has been around since the beginning, is. It has good feels to it, and you don't need any real dialogue for it, since you can pretty much imagine how the characters feel through their actions and its ties to the song's meaning. But at any rate, back to the plot.
How come you only hang out with girls?
Because you're assholes!
Why don't you leave him alone?
Why don't you let Billy stick up for himself? Oh, I forgot. He can't talk.
You're just jealous because you don't have any friends. Stay out of this, Emily.
Talking just wasn't required for the kind of friendship they had.
Exactly! Don't matter how you convey your feelings, you're still you, and that's enough for friendship. So they try to lie to their father about being attacked unprovoked, and tell the sheriff about it, but in a surprise turn, as soon as the sheriff says that the bus driver witnessed what really happened, Gus sends his boys to their room.
What's gotten into you, Gus? You become a miserable old Scrooge, and it shows in the way you're bringing up those two boys. Did you ever wonder where Charlie got the money to pay for Annabelle? Well, I'll tell you. That music box his daughter loved so much, sold it to an antique dealer in town. Sad. Lots of memories were in that box. It's still there, Gus. And you, of all people, should know what it's like to lose a loved one.
Ah, so he just became bitter out of loss. At least it's an explanation, and one that works with the movie's use of familial loss, especially since he does change from this experience. Unlike Agnes. Speaking of...
I believe I've discovered our loophole.
Wonderful! You finally earned your big bucks.
The kid's all yours. You'll have him by Christmas.
We never learn what exactly the loophole is, other than she gets custody of Billy until he can actually speak. And what, because the judge thinks the farm might be dangerous as she claims? Well, they have no choice, but the animals aren't going to let this go, so they go out of their way to drag her car into a pond. And since there's no one who would be able to come on Christmas Eve, that means Billy will get one last Christmas with his grandpa. So now that Santa is back to give everyone their talking powers, Annabelle can finally ask Santa what she wanted.
Ask you for a special wish? I've been really good.
Well, okay. What's your wish?
Okay.
Oh, that's a pretty big wish. Have you really thought about this?
She's thought of nothing else, Santa, all year long.
Then you're sure this is what you want?
Absolutely.
And the next day, as the tow truck arrives, Billy opens his gift from Santa.
There's nothing in here. Grandpa, I talked.
Billy, you're talking. You're talking.
I heard that.
So the power of magic dust cured him of being mute. Yeah, this little outcome might get people to question things since they fixed what might have been a disability, even though they seemed leaning on this being from trauma, so your mileage may vary depending on how you look at this. I say this even when the reason this little turn happened is because instead of wishing to fly, Annabelle wished for Billy to talk again in exchange for never being able to talk herself during Christmas time.
But what about your dream to fly? That was gonna be a wish.
No, Billy. To hear you talk. That was Annabelle's wish.
Oh, Annabelle.
In other news, Gus bought back the music box for Grandpa as he turned over a new leaf, and Agnes becomes interested in him and his boys, so I guess that resolves that plot point. Many years pass, Billy and Emily marry, and Annabelle is so old that her time is about up. And one night, after receiving her vintage reindeer antlers, she wanders off and almost passes away. Until...
I've been looking all over for you. I never forgot what you did for Billy years ago. And you never expected anything in return. I know someone who has a wish for you.
My voice back.
Merry Christmas, Annabelle!
Are you ready to fly, Annabelle?
Oh, yes!
Then lead the way!
Yeah! Look, Billy! I'm flying!
Merry Christmas, Annabelle. Merry Christmas. Yep. Christmas Eve is a night made for wishes. That's what it is. A night made for believers of all ages.
So it goes without saying that this movie is just too darn good. It's one of those heartwarming tales that teaches children to always help each other in time of need without always expecting something in return. Because doing good for people is just natural, and in time, you will be recognized for it. The plot, while a bit condensed and having an almost unnecessary villain, at least works for the amount of time it had, and just to get the morals they wanted to get out to everyone. While the animals sometimes get some antics in, when it's Annabelle most of the time, it just feels more natural, lighthearted, and good feeling whenever she's around Billy. And even if some of the star talent isn't fully utilized, everyone at least puts on a good performance. The outcome with Billy and his voice might be questionable depending on how you look at it, but otherwise I think the overall message and what this movie tries to convey holds the rest of it up. It's just a really sweet and charming movie that everyone should see. Not perfect, but just right for the season. So with that, we wrap up the year of videos. I'll see you in January for webcomics and the official start of Season 6. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all.